Wheelchairs for Peace, a partnership program of the Wheelchair Foundation and Sister Cities International.
Everybody deserves at least a little bit of joy and happiness in life.
There is a point in everyone's life when they need help. For the viewpoint of a person with a disability, that time is now.
Life is not for suffering. It's for everything. Suffering too, but not only for suffering.
People dream. We dream of what we don't have. Even when we have all that we need, we dream of more. When we have a little, we dream of a little more. And some of us have a lot of time to dream.
One of our Sister City chapters just presented wheelchairs in their sister city to a man whose life revolved around getting up in the morning, being clothed and set on the couch where he spent his entire day, where he went back to bed at night.
I felt most of my life as a useless person.
To be unable to move, alone in a room with only those dreams, is a tragic waste of a life. And there are countless thousands of people who spend their days on couches or in back rooms, waiting for a little help.
Well, I could not go to school. I could not even go into the street because the first 2 years I didn't have a wheelchair, so I had to stay at my bed most of the times.
Tatiana grew up in Kazakhstan. When she was 8 years old, she was in an automobile accident, and by the time she was 11, she was paralyzed from the waist down. Tatiana's dream became a reality when she was given a wheelchair through the efforts of Jerry Gary and Sister Cities International.
When I got a wheelchair, I started to get up. First, my mom helped me to sit in a wheelchair, and then I learned to do it myself, and I just felt much more independent. And so I felt much better about myself.
Sister Cities International has been helping people through personal contact, one country to another, city to sister city, since 1956, when President Dwight D. Eisenhower proposed a people-to-people citizens diplomacy initiative. This initiative grew into the Sister Cities Network, representing more than 2,000 communities in over 120 countries around the world.
A wheelchair can either start a life or restart a life.
Jerry Gary had polio as a child and knows firsthand the value of the gift of mobility.
My family was very poor, and we had no resources. I was living in a very small town in Texas, and I received an awful lot of very good help at that time. But I didn't start my life until I was 11, and a Lions Club brought me a wheelchair. And I remember the day I got mine and the enthusiasm and the feeling of being able to go. That was a conditioning thing for me to make me want to do a payback.
Today, as the director of Sister Cities' Wheelchairs for Peace program, Jerry is taking on the task of ensuring that thousands of people all over the world are given a chance to be mobile.
Wheelchair Foundation provided a grant to Sister Cities International, and it's a 5-year program. In that 5 years, it's my responsibility to oversee the shipment of 60,000 wheelchairs to sister cities around the world.
If a person like this gets a wheelchair, he or she feels, oh, somebody thinks about me. It makes him feel so much better about himself.
The United Nations estimates that the number of physically disabled people in third world countries approaches 6.5% of that country's population. Of these people, a very large percentage cannot afford a simple wheelchair. The Wheelchair Foundation is dedicated to the sole purpose of providing free wheelchairs to people worldwide who cannot afford one. In 2 years, they have delivered nearly 60,000 wheelchairs in more than 90 countries. By partnering with organizations like Rotary International and Sister Cities International, the Wheelchair Foundation is changing the world. Sister Cities International and the Wheelchair Foundation established the Wheelchairs for Peace program to address the needs of the physically disabled.
Through the Sister Cities Wheelchairs for Peace initiative, Sister Cities chapters in the United States, 50 of them per year, are going to start fundraising efforts in their local chapters and their local cities to fund entire containers of 240 wheelchairs each to their corresponding sister cities in other countries.
At a recent fundraising event in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, attendees described how their chapters are participating in this global relief effort to aid the Wheelchair Foundation.
The event tonight is Brazil Night with Sister Cities here in Fort Lauderdale. We have people from Sister Cities in Miami, different Rotary members from the Miami and Fort Lauderdale Rotary Clubs here. It's a terrific group of community-minded people here in the South Florida area committed to helping the Wheelchair Foundation.
We raised in our club, in Miami Rotary Club, $9,000 in combination with São Paulo Rotary Club in Brazil, another $9,000 that was matched by Wheelchair Foundation that generate $36,000 that's sending 240 wheelchairs to Brazil.
It has been a wonderful relationship, a great partnership between Rotary, which I'm also involved in, and the Wheelchair Foundation and the Sister Cities. We've been able to send thousands of wheelchairs to our various sister cities around the world.
Fort Lauderdale is now participating with the Wheelchair Foundation to send wheelchairs around the world to some of our sister cities. I was able to visit Argentina, Mar del Plata, Argentina, on one of the missions, and it really was incredible meeting with the mayor and meeting with citizens from Argentina and seeing the smile on children's faces when we delivered the wheelchairs.
And we have the Wheelchair Foundation, such an incredible charity that provides wheelchairs for needy persons, and we are in Brazil very much thankful to the work you are doing with my country also.
People who would be confined to their homes, never be able to get more than perhaps 10 feet out of their homes, now will have the mobility of seeing more of the world.
Through the Sister Cities Wheelchairs for Peace initiative, Rotarians from Arizona actually sponsored a container of wheelchairs with Sister Cities to Almaty, Kazakhstan.
I was standing next to the wheelchair, it had been taken out of the box, and here comes the young man carried by his father.
Sister Cities International volunteer Barbara Chenworth recently traveled to Almaty, Kazakhstan to aid in the delivery of 240 wheelchairs. She was especially touched by a young boy whom she helped seat in a wheelchair for the first time.
My first impression was how frail the boy looked. When they sat him down, he was just shaking because it was so cold, and I said, I really don't want to continue the interview until we get a blanket around him. So they quickly got a big blanket and wrapped him up, and he began to smile. And he began to get the idea, indeed, I could be in charge of this. So that was really worthwhile, because then he was suddenly empowered, you could see that, and it really was a great moment. Emotionally, it's, wow, this is going to set somebody on a new course, and that was a great feeling.
It allows a person to enjoy life, and this is a lot.
Most people spend their whole lives never being able to help. We can literally liberate thousands of people from a bondage that they have that relates to their disability. We can bring this gift to people all over the world. We can help liberate them.